This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are we? Yep, it's me. No, you've only got me for a few more shows. It's been a whole season. Where has it gone? Being stuck inside, that's where it's gone mainly, of course. But I mean, can you believe we started doing these shows? The first one was I did with Brad, which was the Leicester City Birmingham friendly post-match show. Let me put it this way. It was awful. We have come a long way since then. Well, this is sort of, as they say on Dave, surprisingly adequate. That was bloody awful, I'll tell you. It's Chris, and I'm on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can catch us on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a subscribe. We would be eternally grateful. We are also on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group. And if you're living in the old Twitter sphere, and their shares have really gone down this week, they've about halved of Twitter shares because Molina's got a job. So that's Twitter sphere at Leicester TID. And that is, of course, means we are Leicester Till I Die.
Leicester Till I Die TV, home of the FA Cup winners.
Oh, it is. We are the FA Cup winners. I got asked by Melina, who's one of my mods. I'm going to say good evening to Melina. Thanks for joining us. She said, how long is she going to have to put up with this for the about the fact that we're FA Cup winners? And I said, well, probably till we win it again, so it could be another 140 years. So good evening, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. You were in early. I know we were running on a slightly different time because it's Saturday night. Come and watch us. What else is on? Nothing really, is there? Melina, I hope you have a great weekend. The must win for the Foxes tomorrow. Will they be able to do the job against the Spurs? We are going to find out. I must admit, I'm a little bit worried, Melina, a little bit worried. Hey, to my Jeff Sterling, this man is Chris Kamara. And it's like having a roving reporter back in the studio. So we'll welcome him back in. Chris Kamara, hello. How the devil are you, sir?
I must have missed that, Chris. I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you doing? Hello, everyone.
I did wonder. I'm glad I let you go with that because that was good. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I love it. Brilliant, mate. Because you didn't know I was going to do that, so that was an absolutely great comeback. Thanks. Oh, I'm impressed. Yeah, we've got Spurs this weekend. It's been an impressive season. Of course, this time last weekend we were probably getting slightly drunk, I think. But where's the season gone? You know, it's like actually we started doing these at the start of the season. Can you believe We've had 38 weeks game, 38 games. We've had Europa League. We've had the FA Cup.
It seems to have whizzed by so quickly. I think probably because we've not been able to get down to the ground, maybe because there's been so much football on TV that it just seems constant. It's almost like you've not had time to look forward to something because there's always another game on somewhere or whatever. Or, we've had a lot of games, obviously, with being in Europe, but it does seem to have flown by this season. But hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone will be back in stadiums next season.
Well, it's looking good, isn't it? It is looking good. And hopefully you have said you're going to try and become our pre and post match roving reporter.
I should do my best. It depends on the wonders of the phone network, but I shall try.
Well, we're all in the hands of the phone network, aren't we? Nothing else to do tonight, unless you're getting excited about the really big thing that is going on tonight. That it supersedes anything else you've ever thought about doing on a Saturday night, and that's of course the Eurovision Song Contest.
I got to say, Chris, I love it. I'm a big fan. I really particularly enjoy all the political voting. That's just my favourite bit of the whole show.
The sad thing, I'm so glad you said that, because I used to love it as well. I really did. And I kind of got out of it once it did. I mean, there's always been political voting in it, hasn't there? But, these days it's just like, I mean, we've got a really good song this year.
We are.
We're going off topic again, but people seem to like it. It's a guy that did it last year and he couldn't take part.
Yeah.
And because, of course, they cancelled it last year. And yet, we can't cancel the Euros in case players get COVID, but we can cancel Eurovision. Yeah, there's something wrong about that. But it's a really good pop song, which probably means it isn't going to win.
I think it's irrelevant what the song is, Chris. I think it's because he's representing the United Kingdom, or Wyoming, as I think they're called by the rest of Europe, or Wyoming nil point, to give them the full title.
Oh, don't! I'm still seeing therapy about that.
Yeah, so I think it's a good song, but yeah, nobody likes us, so we are the Millwall of the Eurovision world.
And of course, to make it worse, of course, we Brexited, so we're really going to be unpopular. But then again, Australia does well, and that's nowhere near Europe.
That's true. Although I think now as a Eurovision roving reporter, I think I'm correct in saying that they got knocked out in the semis this time. And that's not an opportunity for you to talk about semis again, Chris. They got knocked out in the semis. So my money is on Cyprus or Iceland. There you go.
You know me too well, and I haven't watched the semis, but I did hear that the Australia had got knocked out. And Australia being in the Eurovision, it's a bit like Kuwait hosting the World Cup, really, isn't it?
It is indeed.
The world's gone mad. Gone mad. Pete, good evening. Thanks for joining us. TM, Spurs fan. Nice to have you along. And I'm glad I've got a present for you, TM, actually. And hopefully you'll like this, because I was hoping there was a Spurs fan that would come in, because obviously there's a bit of rivalry has begun between our two clubs. And I was talking, it's very much from the Leicester side, and I was talking to a Spurs fan on the opposition view, and he wasn't so sure that it was such a big thing for the Spurs fans. But it all kind of started, obviously, with the 2015-16 Premier League, title running between the pair of us. But I have got a little compilation video of Spurs' attempt to win the Premier League in 2015-16. It's over very quickly, but here we go.
Oh, it's sad to see, isn't it?
It is. For Spurs fans everywhere, that was just for you.
I think the only thing, to be fair, Chris, that does them a disservice, or that probably gives them a greater service, because I don't think they were ever actually out in front.
No, they weren't. But
it's a shame.
And just to rub it in a little bit more, we are still asking who came third in a 2-horse race. I wonder if I've got a comment. I wonder if that's TM coming back at me. In fairness, yeah, about right. Do you know what, though? I do feel, I don't know if you've got this feeling this season, Craig, that when our chairman passed, it kind of brought a lot of fans together from opposing clubs and what have you. Yeah. And I feel this season, with the things like the ESL, has brought fans together. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing, it's Spurs and Arsenal fans have come together in absolutely despair for their clubs this season.
Yeah, they have, I think, because they see the success we've had, I think, just as a sort of well-run football club. And I think it is that kind of thing of, with the money and the history that those two clubs have got, they should be run a hell of a lot better than they are. And I think sometimes it comes down to the fact that, I'll be kind to them. I think they have that pressure on them, or they take that pressure on board that they have to be successful all the time. The pressure comes from the fans to have to be successful all the time. Being out of the top 4 is a disastrous season for them. Obviously with Arsenal now, it could be, being out of the top 8. Is it 8, 9? Miss Molina will tell us. But, it's the pressure that comes with that. And, we've got to deal in our own little way. We've felt the pressure of the fans who think that if we finish 5th, it's a disaster because we've been in the top 4. So they've had years and years and years and years of this, but they chase that success, and it's not. It gets harder to get every single year. But they all look on jealously, I think, at the moment. Yeah.
I must admit, I've been in a couple of chats this week, obviously with it coming up to the last game of the season, and I've been in quite a lot of them. It's been Spurs and Arsenal fans together. They have seemed to have sort of been brought together by mutual hatred for their clubs, and I have sat there literally not being able to get a word in because they have been arguing over whose club is the worst, Arsenal or Spurs, and those that say Tottenham and Arsenal have got nothing to play for. You have got bragging rights because, depending what happens, Tottenham could finish above Arsenal, which, they don't often do, in fairness. They don't often do. I'm sure we've scared TM off. Stephen, funny you should say this, that, even Harry Kane has seen the light. Now, I'm not saying anything here, but, of course, Harry, he does want to go somewhere where we can win trophies. And I understand that. Well, he could come to Leicester because we win trophies, don't we?
Well, he could. To be fair, if he'd have shown up a little bit better when he was on loan, we may have tried to buy him, and then he'd have had a couple of trophies already.
Exactly. But Harry Kane to Leicester. You heard it here first. But there's a game this weekend, and we're going to get into that in 1 second. But just want to say that Leicester Till I Die is totally supportive if it will come up, which it's not doing at the moment. Let's try that again. Oh, don't you love it when a plan comes together? Leicester Till I Die TV, we do support hashtag stop online abuse. There's just absolutely no need for it whatsoever. Cut it out. You don't have to have every other word as an F word, and you can say somebody's wrong without insulting them. Just remember that. So, hey, tomorrow, we all kick off at the same time. It's at the King Power. And I'm going to put my foot through this computer in a minute. 4 o'clock, Sky Sports. It's also on Talk Sport as well. They've come in at the last minute to cover it. It's on LCFC radio if you want to listen to the ex-players. And, of course, if you're in the county boundaries, it's on BBC Radio Leicester. Going into this game, Craig, thoughts on it?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Tricky one to call. I don't think either of us have been in great form, to be honest. Spurs have been very up and down. A couple of bad defeats to Leeds. I think they lost, and can't remember who the last one was. But they've not been great. You would have expected more, to be honest, from as that team sort of gels together, or not gels together, but once it became clear that they weren't going to get top four, you would have thought maybe that they'd play with a little bit more freedom and loosen a little bit, but it doesn't seem to have happened. They've got players who I think are either already on the well, you can't even be on the plane anymore, can you? So as they were, they'd be on the beach, as it were.
Or golf course, we could say golf course,
yeah,
Spurs, couldn't we?
Exactly.
Yes.
But then you've got, Harry Kane's last game in a Spurs shirt, and I would imagine that he's going to be using that as motivation. It depends how the other players take that, to be honest, because they could say, "Yeah, we want to do it for you, Harry," or it could be, "Thanks very much for leaving us on a sinking ship, mate."
Yeah.
Obviously, for us, we know that. There's a very slim chance of a draw being enough for us. I can't see that happening. So it comes down to the fact that we've got to win and just hope that one of the others slip up for us. So, and Spurs will want to finish above Arsenal because there is the scenario that Arsenal can finish above them still, even after their shocking season. So tough game to call.
It is. It so is. And I mean, I was actually, if you are sort of part of the channel and you follow us on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, you'll see I did an interview yesterday with Max Rushton, who's a TalkSport presenter, does the warm-up shows on Saturday and Sunday on TalkSport 1. I go onto his show an awful lot. He has me on, and he's a really nice guy. And we were talking to him about his support, how he got into the team that he does, etc. Second half of the show was all about Leicester. And he watched the Spurs-Aston Villa game the other night, and he said if you get one past Spurs, you could actually end up getting 4 or 5.
Yeah. Well, that would help a great deal. I can assure you on a goal difference point of view.
With goal difference, we're 4 behind. 4 behind Liverpool on goal difference.
Yeah.
I mean, let's have a look at their 2 games. I mean, Chelsea are up against Villa.
Yeah.
Tuchel is having his usual. I mean, honestly, I didn't realise that I'd forgotten what whingers Germans were. He's now moaning that he's at a disadvantage because he's the only team that's away, and Aston Villa will have home fans in. Now, Tuesday you played us, you had home fans in. God's sake, man. Go back to Germany. Don't. He's always going to be something to moan about, and and of course Tielemans' lucky goal and what have you. But they did well against Tottenham. I mean, they went the goal down. All right, there was a bit of an own goal, classic own goal in there from Reguilon of Spurs, and I don't know if you've seen that at all.
Yeah, it was classic.
It was. Frank Sinclair would have been proud of that. Let's be honest with you, wouldn't he? And Revan TFC agrees with me here. But they came back. Grealish was back, and you can never have a one-man team. But I think Aston Villa have proved this season they're probably the closest thing. So that might be the toughest game of the 3. It might be the fact that Villa do us a favour.
I think that's our best shot, to be honest. I can see Villa. I may be, looking through blue tinted spectacles or whatever and looking for good signs. But I can see Villa getting a point at least in that game. But as I say, we've got the worst scenario would be that we don't win our game.
Yes.
When the opportunity is there. But I can definitely see Villa getting a point out of that game. So I know it's going to be an exciting time anyway, isn't it? Watching all the different scores. Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool have got Palace. They're probably the happiest. It's Roy Hodgson's last game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our boy. So whether they're going to turn up for Roy or not, who knows? But
they didn't. They didn't turn up. They didn't turn up when it was the home game and the fans were in there for his last home game.
Right.
I think was it Arsenal? Was it Arsenal that they lost to?
Good, yeah. If you lose to Arsenal this season,
yeah. So they didn't turn up for that, but you would hope that they would. They've got past record with Liverpool as well, and Liverpool. They've still got to get a result. I'm starting to sound like Kevin Keegan. They've still got to go there and get something.
And we'd love it, wouldn't we? We would just
we would
love
love it. We would love it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you know, they're going to play with a bit of nerves, and Palace have got players who can hurt them. So
Yeah.
all to play for. But I think you know, with the fans in at Anfield again, you know, if they've got anything about them, Liverpool, if they want to stoke that up, you know, they would have bought a replica Premier League trophy off eBay and start parading that around, because they've not had the chance to do that with the fans.
Who would be silly enough to buy a replica Premier League trophy off eBay and have it on display? You know, I don't know. I don't know at all. I mean, I was listening to one of the presenters on TalkSport, and he was like saying Leicester City says are bottlers because for the last season and this season, we've been in the top four for like 37 of the 38 games. And both times we've dropped out at the very last minute. Mm-hmm. And they said we only won the Premier League because other teams didn't turn up. But isn't that how Manchester City won it this year? Because Liverpool didn't turn up and Chelsea didn't, and Man United are going through a transition. That's how teams win the championship, win the league, isn't it? It
is, but I don't know if it was Andy, whatever his name is, who was saying that. Yeah, because I mean he's an idiot anyway. Well, he's a Man U fan for a start, but he's I've heard him a few times, and you know what Talk Sport's like. They like to just get the fans going, and they like people ringing in to spend money on their phones. But yeah, I mean, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that certain teams are bottlers, and then in the same breath say everyone deserves where they finishes where they deserve to after the course of a full season. So you can't have it both ways. You know, whether we lost games at the beginning of the season or lost at the end of the season, it doesn't really matter. We'll finish where we finish. And what it does show is, you know, if you look at those, the teams and the squads around us, we're finishing higher than we probably should. You know, in terms of the breadth of the squad, we've finished above our natural position. So it's disappointing if we don't do it, but it's still a successful season.
Yeah. I hadn't seen what Levante put up there, so I apologise for putting that up. He was using a rather naughty word, which has earned him a timeout. Talking to Man United fans, a bit like I Dream of Genie, poof, and they suddenly appear. Good evening, Richard. Thanks for joining us. Hi. I hope you're all right, mate. If you're interested in football, not just Man United, Rich Sports, it is on YouTube, and he does some really, really good shows on his channel. Like, you know, the worst thing. In fact, I got him to put Dennis Wise in the worst Premiership players ever the other week. So well done, Richard.
It was funny. Just before we came on air, I don't know if anybody saw it on Sky Sports that St Johnstone won the Scottish FA Cup today with their manager Callum Davidson.
They did.
Who,
yes.
Who was the punchee in that incident with Dennis Wise. So good for him, and he's got his team a place in the Europa League.
And he's also done the double because he's won both of the cups up there. St Johnstone, you know, but no, it is worth checking out Rich Sports channel, and thanks for joining us, Rich. So just looking at the form guide here and going into this game, I mean, the form guide for the two teams, we're both going on to into this game on the back of a bit of a bad game. Of course, they had the Villa game, we had Chelsea. But it's pretty tight. But in the overall look of things, Tottenham are actually fifth for the last 6 matches. They're fifth in the table, and we are seventh. The bad news, guys, is that Liverpool are top of that table and Chelsea are third of the form guide. But you know, I wasn't sure about Tottenham because you know they've sacked the manager. They've virtually thrown away the League Cup, any chance they had of winning that. No disrespect to Ryan Mason, but come on. I didn't realise that they've actually got Chris Powell in the backroom
Yeah.
staff who's had management experience, and yet they gave it to this Ryan guy. And I'm thinking, like, it's almost like you can't blame us if it goes wrong at the end of the season. The guy's got no experience, sort of thing. Well, you gave him the job.
Yeah.
He's actually, I say he's turned it round, but they've not done as bad as I thought they would. That, you know, he's given Bale his run, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, as I think I said last week, he was in a Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer position. He knows he's not going to get the job. He's basically got a free swing. I think he was out there to almost placate the fans and just say, you know, I'm going to pick all your favourites. And it's worked out for him. You know, Dele Alli's come back to life and looks like he's playing well again. So they're playing with a bit of freedom, but I think, you know, they haven't necessarily got the bottle. You know, if we're going to throw around bottlers thing, I don't think they've got the bottle to be in a game if it goes against them. As you said earlier, you know, if you go ahead against them, then they don't really be able to seem to have the fight to bring it back.
Yeah, Rich, we were basically what we were saying. We think it's the Chelsea game where it might swing in our favour. It's going to be a few bitten nails. Let me put it that way. The problem we have, and we keep coming back to Harry Kane, is that he does like to score against Leicester.
He does, unfortunately. He does seem to have a bit of a hoodoo over us. All we can do is keep him tight, you know, and it'll be interesting to see how we play that. You know, whether we try and just keep tabs on him, whether somebody's given the job to keep tabs on him. They haven't got lots of goals from all over the place, but then you've still got Bale if he's playing. You've still got Son, who's got his pace. So again, I don't think it's one where we should be pushing up too high, because we will get caught on the break, and we know, particularly at home, that's been our Achilles heel.
It has indeed. And of course, Harry Kane and Mo Salah both on 22 goals in the battle for the old Golden Boot.
Yeah. So I mean, him personally, he's got something to play for. Yeah. So I mean, that could go to the point where you see him just shooting from anywhere, to be honest, because again, nothing to lose from his point of view. He's just going to go after that Golden Boot, add another one to the collection, and maybe he's just going to try shooting from anywhere. So if we keep him quiet, maybe that's in our favour, I think.
Yeah. Rich, you know, I haven't got a space yet, but, you know, I could make one. And funny you should mention it, that I actually was looking online the other day to see how much the replica FA Cup trophy was. And I'm not working now, so if I did buy one, it would be sort of more that size than sort of the full size, more of like a table ornament, shall we say. But yeah, it was tempting. It was tempting. So let's have a look at the game in a bit more detail. Where are we here? So these, you know, it's pretty even though. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say that they are sort of. And I'm sorry, it's going a bit slow at my end. I don't know how it's working at yours. Right, but, you know, going the last 5 games there, we won obviously earlier in the season. They got another own goal. Maybe we should be, you know, maybe that's our secret weapon tomorrow.
Yeah.
They beat us. Well, we won 1, they won 1 the season before. Or the season before that, they did do the double overs. But there's no clear, you know, team that, you know, they're not whipping us, are they?
No, I mean, it's one of those where I think it sort of plays with your mind a little bit. Yeah, I think you think that they've got a hoodoo over us and they beat us more often. But it just seems that way, to be honest. And I think that end of season game, I can't remember if it was the last game of the season or the last home game of the season, sort of 3 or 4 seasons ago, when they gave us a hell of a good hiding. I think it was 5 or 6-1, and Kane got. I don't know, Kane got 4, didn't he, or 5 or whatever, but that one still sticks in the mind. So so it probably has given me a hangover and makes me feel like they beat us all the time. But I think we're definitely due one.
And I think there was recent. I mean, it was obviously before then. There was a 4-3 or something between us as well, wasn't there?
There was at Wembley, I think, wasn't there, when they were playing their home games at Wembley? I think there was a 4-3.
Just as you speak there, I'm just having a look here. It was actually it was 5-4 in
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
2018. Yep. And we lost 5-4. And then we were 6-1. We lost to them on the 18th of May 2017. So that was a season after we'd won the Premier League.
Yeah, we were a bit of a shambles towards the end of that season, weren't we? So
yeah. Kane got 4, Son got 2. Now here's a test for you then, because I know you always like to throw me a question every now and again.
You're gonna ask me who scored for us, aren't
you? Who scored Leicester's goal that day?
Ajoa.
How the hell did you get that wrong?
I never felt confident.
No, it was Ben Chilwell, actually.
Was it?
Yes. Wonder whatever happened to him. But this was, and I do apologize, it did go so slow. Earlier on in the season, this was the game, the 2-0, the own goal. I don't think you can read anything into that, because like with the Chelsea games, when you've changed the manager, you're not playing the same sort of team, are you?
No, the mindset's totally different. I think it was a penalty and an own goal, wasn't it?
Yes.
In that game. So no, the mindset's different. I remember earlier in the season though, I was confident that Spurs were going to have a real challenge. I know they were top for a while around that time, where four different teams were top. But I thought they had a chance.
When you say a while, I think it was 2 hours. But they have released a DVD about it, apparently.
Oh, that's good then. I think earlier in the season, I thought they had the real chance. They'd got a real good style of play. They were playing on the break. Kane was dropping deep and playing the balls in behind to Son, and the sort of roles were reversed, and Son was the main goal scorer. But then, very much as happens with Mourinho, he starts falling out with players, and the wheels start coming off. So, it's been a strange season for them, to be honest.
Harry Kane, apparently, he is, as well as being Tottenham's leading goal scorer, he is also Tottenham's leading provider. Assists.
Well, that's not bad, is it? That's not bad. You've got to take your hat off to him. He never looked. When he was on loan to us, I think he only scored a couple of goals, but he never looked like he was going to go on to have the career he's had. No. But fair play to him. He's just been phenomenal.
I think the fact that it says, I think that the fact that he's so good is the fact that so many teams hate him. But you would love him if we're back together. You would love him if he was in our team. But this is how tight it is, and it will be decisive. And let me see if you agree with me here, Craig, because I'm going to be a bit controversial here. Because I think, not like me, is it? I think I would actually sooner be in the Europa League this season than the Champions League. We're guaranteed Europa League. Not this. I still don't really fully understand what this Europa Conference thing is, but yes, we've been top 4 all season, and we've been the only team that has been. We've now dropped out, and if everything, even if we all 3 of us win the games, which is all we can do, we're still going to finish in that 5th and Europa League spot. I don't think our squad is strong enough. We're losing 2 defenders that, although they weren't sort of starters at the start of the season, we would have struggled without Christian Fuchs and Wes Morgan. We don't think we're going to have necessarily the money to buy a lot of players simply because of the COVID situation and the industry that our owners are in. So we could be reliant, and we've got a lot of decent youngsters. Look at Luke Thomas coming through and Dewsbury Hall at Luton there, etc. And, James Justin has got to come back. Hopefully Pierre will come back better next season than he has done this season. But I just think that if we go, and we have got a lot of youngsters, into the Champions League, everybody will be expecting us to get through to the quarterfinal. Oh, we've got, you can imagine Leicester fans saying it now. Oh, we got through to the quarterfinals last time. We'll be in the final this time. But I could see us getting probably sort of, Munich and Barcelona in our group or something like that, and us dropping out and it absolutely killing the confidence. And I personally am happy to be in the Europa League and have another season in there, learning about, because it's different in Europe, how things happen, the refs react differently. And then maybe have the Champions League next season when, again, at the end of next season, we'd have bought more players to enhance the squad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a valid point and one that I disagree with.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, that's it. I mean, disagree with me away. Yes.
Exactly, because you've made very valid reasons for doing it, for going down that route. I haven't got a big thing against the Europa League, and I think that, in all honesty, is our level. I think you're quite right. That's our level of European competition for the squad we have at the moment in terms of the way that we are progressing. What I would say is being in the Champions League gives us a hell of a lot better chance of keeping the key players that we want to keep and attracting the players that we want to attract. If there's choices to be made, being in the Champions League gives us that a little bit of competition against, we've seen talk about this Robin Gosens, for instance, from Atalanta. And some of these players that we've been touted with seem to be hanging on to see where we're going to be next season. But I think it's more about the likes of Tielemans and Ndidi keeping hold of them. You would hope that they can see that something's being built. You could see all the camaraderie in the team when we won the cup. But if a team comes along who's in the Champions League and makes a big play, it makes it difficult for us to hold on to them. The other thing with the Champions League is it does bring in more money, which helps. Yeah. And you always, you would hope that you wouldn't come bottom of your group. If you come third, you're going to end up in the Europa League anyway. So, all in all, I think you're right. The Europa League is the level we're at. I think the Champions League just gives us that little bit more power to keep the players we want to keep and attract players that we want to bring to the club.
I see totally where you're coming from, and you raised some good points. Again, not necessarily ones that I agree with, but you raised some very good points. But I think, you've got to look and say, well, would anybody not go to Tottenham if the money was right? Because they're in the conference, or, well, they're going to be in the Conference League. They can't get anything else. Same with Arsenal as well, Yeah, the big names, but big names fall by the wayside. It happens from time to time. Liverpool didn't win anything for years. And I just think you could easily just end up in the pot of death, as you could end. I mean, when we got Bruges and Copenhagen and I can't remember the other team in the Champions League, we couldn't have picked a better group if they said go and choose who you want to play. So it could just as easily be the group of death. Do you know what I mean? And it's like in Europe. Look at how we let ourselves down against Prague, and there's nothing to say that we would get through even if we had an easy group. I agree with you, but I would hope about the money certainly, but I would hope that the players like Tielemans and these sort of players look at it and go, well, hang on, all right, so we're not in the Champions League, but we've won the FA Cup.
Yeah,
and we're in the Europa League. That isn't bad. And Tielemans has already turned down Man United once to come to us. So you would hope that some of the players, like you said, very, very rightly, that they would see we're a work in progress. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes if you run before you walk, you can stumble, I believe.
I think I think you're right. And as I say, it's a difficult one to call. I think it just gives that that kudos, doesn't it, that we're in there again, and and every year you learn. On the flip side is there's nothing to say that the way that we played against Slavia Prague, we wouldn't get that far in the Europa League anyway. But you would hope that we've learned from that, and we will have a stronger squad. And I think it doesn't affect us as much as it would affect the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea, because they're shopping at Waitrose for players. We're still around the Aldi and Lidl. But we're
But you get
picking
some
up.
good bargains in Aldi and Lidl.
Well, exactly, and that's
You
where
know.
we're looking at. We're looking at those sort of players who are not necessarily on the radar of the big clubs, but also we are attractive enough that they know they're going to get played here. They're not going to go to a huge club and sit on a bench. There's been enough players like that. So we are still attractive. It's just, can we hang on to those big players that we don't want to lose? But I think either way, it's a successful season and we are in Europe again, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, the players that we've brought in, Tillemans came in, and I don't think we were in Europe actually when he came in. Fofana came in as a Europa League team. So that said, if we get into the Champions League, I'll be overjoyed. Don't get me wrong. I don't say I don't want to be in it, but I'm just saying, a lot of, and I've seen on a lot of forums and a lot of shows that this is going to be a disappointing season for Leicester with us, dropping out again. I just, like you said then, quite rightly, Craig, I agree 100%. This has been, a fantastic season. I mean, for 2 seasons, we finished the 5th best team in the country. Yeah, and we've won the FA Cup, and we've got into the Europa League for 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, we've been striving. We've been striving to get into Europe. That's always been the thing, isn't it? Can we get into Europe? Can we have a European season? We've now got 2 back to back. So it is a success. And as I say, you look at the size of the club, you look at the squad. If you looked at everything and then said, right, where would we be? Where should we be on a scale? If you look at the squad, the size of the club, where should we be? You would still probably put 6, maybe 7 teams. Maybe you'd put Everton in front of us in terms of the size of club. So the fact is, we are punching above our weight at the minute. It takes time to become one of those big established clubs. So it has been a success. There will be a tinge of disappointment, but overall, it's been a fantastically successful season.
Oh, hasn't it? It did make me laugh that somebody was saying that the incentive for Tottenham to beat us, that if they beat us and we don't get into the Champions League, that they've got a better chance of getting Brendan Rodgers. Can you explain that one to me?
I can explain, why they may be clutching at that particular straw, but I don't see. I don't see. He's got a rebuilding job. Brendan has got everything he wants here, in terms of the biggest thing, and I think the most important thing is that he has influence from top to bottom, in terms of the team, who's bought. I'm not sure any manager at Spurs has all the influence with Daniel Levy as a chairman. You're going to go into a club that is selling its best player for a start, and you may have to be playing in the Europa Conference League, which, I mean, if the Champions League is Tuesdays, Wednesdays, we're on a Thursday, or Europa League's on a Thursday. I'm not sure. Maybe they're playing Sunday morning down the park. I don't know in the Europa Conference, but it's not attractive, is it, when he's in the middle of a project with us?
Yeah, and I mean, they have come out and said as well, if you're in the Europa League, that you don't have any early games. You're always the late game of the weekend when you're in the Europa League. So at last, the FA are backing us up. This came up earlier on the Facebook group, and it's very interesting. English clubs have won all 3 domestic trophies. I don't know if you saw it all this century. There's 5 clubs in English football have won all 3 major domestic trophies this century. And it's Man City, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool. Can you guess who the 5th one is?
Is it little old Leicester City?
Quite right. Go to the top of the class there and get a gold star and eat your apple. It certainly is, yes. We have only won one of everything, Premier, FA Cup and League Cup, which is the 3 that we have only won one. But, it's, that sort of thing. And I was talking to a Liverpool fan earlier. It was a friend. And I said, and we were talking about the FA Cup because we hadn't seen each other since the FA Cup. And I said, what you fans of clubs like Man City, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool, you don't feel what we feel when we win something, because, you know, for Man City, oh, we've won another Premier League, stick it in the cupboard with the rest, you know,
Yeah.
and we've won a League Cup final. Well, there's only 6 we've won this century, you know, and for Leicester, it just means so much more.
Yeah, I think for Man City may be slightly different in terms of it's not that long ago that they were down in League One, you know, and struggling.
Yeah.
But their fans, you know, they've always stuck by them there. But it becomes that norm, doesn't it? And I know it sounds weird, but there's that slight tinge in me that I don't want us to become like that. You know, that we start to, and you can already see it, that we start to get annoyed and disappointed if we're not top 4, that we're not challenging.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be like that. You know, that yes, I want us to be there, and to not be like that, you've got to have some disappointing seasons. But that's what makes the great times more special.
Yes.
You know, that's why, you know, Chelsea fans didn't turn up till 10 minutes before kickoff at Wembley because they've been in the FA Cup final that much time. You don't want it to become the everyday, the mundane, because it's like having Christmas every day. So,
the biggest
enjoy
point
the fact that we still are a little bit, you know, unpredictable.
The biggest talking point was the fact that they turned up in the tracksuits.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it was.
Well, and I don't know who this is. You haven't put your name on it. You're just up as a Facebook user. If you click on the StreamYard link in the chat, there's no, you don't have to download. There's no cost. It just means we can see who we're talking to. If Liverpool win, Leicester win, Chelsea draw, all 5 spots in Champions League. If Chelsea beat Man City in the final, I'm not. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because Chelsea will finish 5th. But by winning the Champions League, they will still qualify.
Yes. Right. Yeah, that goes because they draw. Yes, yeah. And somebody agreeing with you there, Craig. My God, should we take a screenshot of that?
I know, it's rare.
It is. And also the fact, I can't believe I said I agreed with you. That was totally wrong.
That'll get taken out in the edited cut.
Oh, it will. I will take that out, believe you me. Right, it's that time when Craig does a Brendan and he tries to predict what team we are going to play on tomorrow. And there's a couple of surprises in there. Here we go.
It's that time in the show
where Craig picks his Leicester starting 11.
Agree with him? Let us know.
Everybody wants their own jingle, Craig, and you've got one.
They do, mate. Thank you.
Right. I've tried to do this a little bit different because obviously I always disappear when I bring your team up, and everybody's saying, Chris, we like to see you. Why do you always hide behind the team when Craig announces it? So let's see if this works. There you go. There we go.
We're going to be all professional and move over there. Look.
Yes. Honestly, it's almost like Sky Soccer Saturday, isn't it? This, you know. Talk us through it.
Well, I mean, I've not changed a lot, to be honest. I've given someone a chance who probably doesn't deserve a chance based on his last performance and his clothing line of Boohoo Man and his tiny little bag. If anybody hasn't seen James Maddison modeling the latest Boohoo Man fashions, and particularly the beige outfit with the tiny little bag, then please do look for that, because it's well worth it and it really shows where his priorities are. But at the end of it, you know, he's a talented player, and this is a stage he should be. We've said it before, he needs to turn up. Anyway, going back, Schmeichel. I mean, Schmeichel surely is in the team of the season as goalkeeper. He has his critics. I've been critical of Schmeichel. I think his kicking, you know, leaves a lot to be desired, unless, you know, he's got bets on hitting someone in the stand with Bet365. I don't know, but apart from that, his command of the back line, the way that he talks through the game, but some of the saves he's made this season, the cup final was just phenomenal. So I'd be very disappointed if he wasn't in the PFA team of the year. The back line, I tinkered with it. I almost went to a back four, but the problem is with the back four, and even Brendan, I thought had a problem when he was playing all of the midfield players together against Chelsea. If you're playing Tielemans and Ndidi, excuse me, with the players we've got available, I'm not sure you can go to a four across midfield because you push out players out wide where they're no use. Maddison got a hell of a lot of stick for his performance against Chelsea, and rightly so on many levels. But he was put out on the left-hand side where the ball wasn't getting to him. He was being asked to track back. It's not his game. Why would you do that? Why would you take a goldfish out for a walk? It doesn't make any sense. He's a number 10. I've got to try and thanks, Pete. Thanks, Stephen. I've got to try and find a way to get Maddison in his best position. So I've stuck with this 5. I've stuck with the back 3 who, Castagna, again, ideally you'd be playing as a wing back, but from the players we've got, I think I'd go with that. I'm bringing in Ricardo. Ricardo, for me, in that little cameo when he came on for Albrighton against Chelsea, his movement, his passing, everything was quicker and sharper about him. No, nothing against Albrighton, but Ricardo, to me, looked like he should have been there. He should have played all game for me. Everything was much more dynamic, and it was our best period of the game. Thomas, I'm going to give another shot to. I don't think he had his best game, to be honest, but I think he's probably the only natural left-sided player we've got. Ndidi and Tielemans speak for themselves, but I'm giving Maddison another shot. But he's got to be in that 10. He's got to be playing behind the front 2 to get the best out of him. Otherwise, it's pointless. Yeah,
and I'm going to ask you on this because when you sent that through to me, and I did have a look and think let's have a look, and you gave the formation as well. You convinced. I must admit, I could kind of see where you're coming from with Ricardo. I'm just worried whether he can do it, whether he's fit enough to do it for 90 minutes or not in a physical game.
But for me, Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt, but no. You don't know. You don't know unless you're playing from the start. I don't see the point of. He looked fit enough to me. If he plays, if he can only do 60 minutes, he's got the summer off. He's not been picked in Portugal's squad, so he's got the whole summer off. For me, he might be able to last 60, 70, 90 minutes, but do that from the start. Don't play him for 20 minutes at the end when the game may be gone.
Yeah. My worry, and this is it, the one thing I was saying, I agree, I like that formation. I had a bit of a heated discussion with Brad. We were picking teams on another channel, and we couldn't even agree on our lineup, which is great. That's what football's all about, two guys from the same team having different opinions, and we didn't fall out or anything. But he very much is a 4-4-2 man. And the funny thing is, I used to be for many years, but I do like the fluidity of the 3-5-2 going into the 5-3-2, depending whether we're attacking or. And not every team can do that. It depends on the players, but we have got the players to do that. The one thing I am, and I'm not necessarily arguing with you because it's a bit, but just questioning is the Maddison from the start because he hasn't looked good enough. And I know you said you've picked somebody who probably doesn't deserve to be picked. If he is going to turn it on. I mean, let's say he starts and he has a not brilliant game. Who do you bring on? It's almost certainly going to be Perez.
Yeah.
Perez isn't a game-changing player. He's, and Brendan likes him. And I've got to the point here where, managers like a player that fans don't see. There always seems to be one of those players, doesn't there, where the manager picks him whatever because he gives something that the manager wants. So I'm prepared, Perez for me gets a pass. And, I know we've picked on him a lot this season, but Brendan likes him. He does something for Brendan that Brendan sees. And therefore, for me, he gets that pass as being okay. But he's not a game changer where if you bring Maddison on, he can change a game, and that's the worry with starting Maddison. And I know you got to take the risk sometimes, but
I mean, I would say what I would say is they're both better as number 10s. I think we've seen that, and we probably all agree with that over the season when they're playing that little pocket. they both play a lot better than when they are.
Yes.
But if you do it the other way around, you're almost admitting that you're going to be losing at some point. Yeah. If you've got all of your players and they all play to the best of their ability, for me, who would you pick? Would you pick Perez or Maddison to start the game? For me, you'd pick Maddison. And yes, it's you, and then you hope that you don't have to be in a point where you've got to change the game. For me, if you're already thinking about the fact that you may have to change the game, it's a negative start for me. So I would always go positive and try and win the game in the first half if you can, and then close it out. We've been very good at closing out games, and we've seen that Spurs are not great at coming back. For me, you get your best players on the pitch at the start and you close the game out.
Have we got a good record of getting leads, though? We seem to always be coming from behind and playing better in the second half. But hey,
yeah, I don't think it's a going forward. It's a solid game plan.
Brendan, we trust. In Brendan, we trust. That's the thing. But we shall see. We shall see. We've been waiting for Spurs a long time, haven't we? It's been taking a while for us to. And I forgot to put the word "still" in there. We are still waiting for you, Spurs. Well, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom there. Still waiting. Yeah. Has there ever been a song that's come back and bitten a fan base on the arse so much as that one?
Probably not, and I'm hoping that one doesn't come back and bite us on the bum over the next couple of seasons, to be honest, because damn well they wouldn't think twice about it. I think you're right earlier on what you said. We've created this rivalry almost, but it's a rivalry based on us feeling we're inferior. That we've got one over on one of the bigger clubs, and I think we should be at a point now where Tottenham become insignificant to us. Wouldn't that be much better that we stop talking about them because they're a middle of the table club?
Yeah. We'll be back straight after this, Craig. Oh, if only I could see if that was working properly. So, if it goes as it looks like it's going to go, and I'll come back to this point, 5th, an FA Cup win, we've got to be happy, haven't we?
We have. I think it's always disappointing. You set your goals out at the start of the season, and I think every Leicester City fan would have taken that. They would have taken that. You're going to finish 5th. You're going to have a great season. You're going to finish 5th. You're going to be in Europe again. And guess what? You're going to win the FA Cup. I can't believe any Leicester City fan wouldn't have taken that. The journey to get there has had its ups and downs, and that's what gives the little bit of a tinge of disappointment to it. But it's been a fantastic season. Yeah.
I'm going to ask, and thank you, Sandra. You've just reminded me, because I did want to ask Craig this, and I forgot when we were talking about Maddison and Perez. Of course, he does get forgotten, and that's Dennis Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try and get him in, and as you know, I had him in for the Chelsea team. I had Pratt in there. I thought we should have taken a different route in that game. We should have sort of bossed the middle, really crunched up the middle, because they like trying to play through you there. And I'd have put Pratt in there and tried to keep that game as tight as possible. But it's a difficult one because I'm not sure in this formation. Pratt's not a number 10, or we haven't seen him in a number 10. So what you end up then is Pratt, Ndidi, and Tielemans, who are all sort of either defensive or sort of more middling of the pitch. You haven't got anyone in there who really wants to go and get involved on the edge of the box with the two main strikers. So I think in this formation, it's really difficult to get Pratt in. But I'd like him to get some pitch time. I'm disappointed that he's not been off the bench, at least over the last few games, because I think there's definitely a really good player in there. And this is a problem that I think Brenda's going to have when it comes through to next season. You know, you've got Harvey Barnes coming back. You've got hopefully James Justin. He's got to find a formation that fits all these players in. And in the formation we're playing at the moment, where does Harvey Barnes fit in?
Yes.
I don't know. It's a tough one.
That is very, very true. We've got to keep hold of him, though, haven't we? Dennis Pratt.
Yeah. Because you've got to you need to build a squad, but you know this is where management comes in. You know, you've got to, you know, again, and part of that is if you're in Champions League, you're showing those players that it's worth being part of it, even if you're a bit part. You're a bit part player in a successful team. That's how Man City can almost have 2 full squads because they're almost guaranteed to be getting in semi-finals and finals every season. So we have got to try and keep our best players, but Brendan needs to find a way to get them some pitch time, and I don't think he's done that particularly well this season, if there's a criticism.
One last question for you, Craig. How would you like to win all this lot? So you can win a beach towel, although obviously we can't use the beach at the moment, but you could have it hung up like I have done, or when you're smiling beach towel with a pouch, a signed copy of Minding My Own Football Business, a story of Leicester City in the 90s, written by our first ever chief executive, Barry Pierpoint, and he'll sign that for you. FA Cup goal picture from courtesy of Iconic Sporting Moments. Going to supply that. There's no frame, but great description of Yuri's goal and taking Yuri's goal onto your chest. Courtesy of Art of Football, we're going to be having a T-shirt, sizes small to the larger gentleman like me, 3XL there, with the goal on it. And then another book there, What If? It's a bit of a fun look back at Leicester's history. What if Leicester City had taken a different route and different things had happened at times of year? It's not a bad package, that, is it, Craig?
That's very nice. I'd be more than happy to win that, and I'm sure every Leicester City fan would be.
The good news is, unfortunately for everybody else, is you can't, because you're part of Leicester till I die. But if you've got to be in the UK, unfortunately, so we can't send it outside of the UK. But if you are in the UK, tune in to the post-match show tomorrow, and they will be up for grabs. And it's going to be interesting because I haven't decided how to do it yet, so it's going to be up for grabs. Craig, we're going to be back next week. We're back obviously tomorrow. We've got the pre-match show at what time? We kick off at 4. So the pre-match show is going to be 10 to 3, when we'll be watching the team announcement and see if you've got it spot on. And then about 6:30, we've got the post-match show with Julian Watts and Brad. And then next week on the Tuesday, we're going to have a season review when we're going to look month by month at what Leicester have done. And then also possibly next week as well, we're going to have a look at each of the players and look how they've done and how they deserve to be graded for their part in Leicester's season. Craig, fingers crossed, mate. Thanks for being our very own Cammy.
You're very welcome, Chris. And even if you're not going to ask me, I'm going to go with a score prediction.
Oh, well done, sir. Well done. Yes. Here we go. Well, you've never got it right yet, so I thought there's no point in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unfortunately, Steve's gone for a 0-1 to Tottenham, but that's that reverse psychology again. Steve Walsh and Ian Marshall have both gone 2-1 to Leicester, which was what I was going to go for, so I had to go 3-1 to be different. Because I think we can always let a goal in, but go out with a bang, Craig. Get it right this week. Get it right.
Well, I was all lined up to go with 3-1, Chris, but you've stolen that. So I'm gonna channel the energy from I think it was the first game of the season when we won the league, and I think it was we played Sunderland. And we won 4-2. So I'm going to go 4-2.
Well, we would take that, wouldn't we? Even though it wouldn't be enough to actually get us into the Champions League. TM says here, thanks, Melina, for that. TM says, hope we all stay friends afterwards.
I'm sure we will.
TN, yeah, it's only a game of football. There's far bigger things happening in the world that we need to worry about at the moment. Thank you so much for being with us most of the season when you found us. Thanks for coming in and commenting. It's nice to have fans from the other side, have a bit of banter without falling out. That's what it's all about. And to be honest with you, this season and the shows like this... Sorry, Stephen, I'm going to come to your comment in a minute. You threw me then. What it has shown with all the ESL and everything is that fans can get along.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. You know, no matter, you know, even if you're in a relegation zone next year, you know, you're still welcome on.
I think, because I was surprised at Nuno going at Wolves, and I think that Wolves are going to regret that, and I think Wolves could be in that relegation battle next year. But you know, you get rid of a good manager, and that's what happens. And I've just fallen into this. I forgot you did say the other day that you are going to the match tomorrow with your daughter.
I am indeed. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that. She's really looking forward to it, having missed out on the FA Cup. But I'm hoping and I'm sure that they'll be parading it around, so it'll be great for her. Thank you very much.
It will be. And wouldn't it be nice beating Tottenham and parading the FA Cup in front of them all on the same day? It's a perfect day, isn't it? You know. Hopefully, might see you tomorrow then with the old roving reporter thing.
I shall try my best.
Yeah, but the main thing is enjoy it with your daughter. Enjoy it with your
daughter.
Cheers,
mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Speak to you later. Take care.
Yep. Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Melina's coming at the end here. And I'll just try and get this. Is going so slow, but Melina has come in. Stephen's gone for a 4-1. Melina's come in with a 3-1 for Leicester. And yes, Melina, I did have a haircut. Look at that. I haven't got much, but I did get it cut. Guys, last day of the season tomorrow. We will be doing shows, as we say, during the season, off season. Message us. Go onto the website, leicestertillidie.com. And you will see on every page, there's a little button you can click to send us a message. Let us know what you want us to talk about during the off season. We're going to be doing some ex-player interviews. We've got a few specials coming up, like I say, the looking back at the season and rating the players. So we've got a few ideas of our own. Please think about what you'd like us to talk about, and let me put that on properly. Thank you, Melina. I have the hat to cover my head, but. And if you've got a hair like mine, that's why it's covered. But yeah, let us know what you want us to cover. What apart from my head, probably the rest of my face. Thank you very much, guys. But hey, off for the Eurovision. But it's going to be better than the Euros. We've got as much chance of winning the Eurovision as we have the Euros. That's for sure. See you tomorrow, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for taking part. Thanks to Craig, our wise old sage. Couldn't do it without him. Take care. Stay safe, guys. See you tomorrow.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.